Over the past several months, I have been collecting footage of myself completing chores around my off-grid cabin in the woods here. Throughout the fall and winter months, I have been doing my best to keep up with the upkeep around the cabin, and that covers a wide range of indoor and outdoor activities. So in today's video, I will be sharing that footage with you and getting you caught up on what I've been doing during the filming of the episodes on my channel and then between the episodes. These are just a few of the things that I'm doing while I'm living full-time off the grid up here at my cabin. So currently, as I sit right now, it is springtime, but we're gonna start the video jumping back in the past to the fall and me dealing with a dead tree. Okay, I was not going to record this, but last minute I decided, you know what, we better capture this just in case things go very right or very wrong.
Do you think I should be way over to your right?
I think that's a good spot actually where you are, Joe. So we got this dead tree leaning right next to my cabin, and we're gonna try and fall it so that it doesn't land on my cabin and so that it doesn't hurt me or my neighbors Joe and Carol in the process. We'll see what happens here. We leaned a ladder up against the tree to tie that rope that's on it right now.
Just upcut like this so we can How deep is that?
It's about halfway. Okay, there's my notch. And yeah, if you guys want to give it a pull, see what happens.
We're just gonna put a lot of...
Yeah, it's moving. There you go. There it goes. Perfect. So that's what I cut off of it. The rest was just dead and broke off. And thank you, Carol. She took one for the team. She pulled it and fell on her butt over there.
When we said timber, we weren't referring to you. Okay. Start to fall.
There it goes. All right, well, that's a lot better than it falling on my cabin.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you guys so much. I've been thinking about that for a long time.
Good.
All right, I'm gonna finish cleaning up this area and the tree that we fell and this fine maple that fell at the same time. All right, there we go. Got all that cut up and it's just gonna lay there and rot. So no more dead tree leading towards the cabin, and I got this area cleaned up. Oh, and for those of you who are like, that's not cleaned up, just so you know, in this area of the woods, give things a couple weeks of laying on the ground and it'll look like that. Things just kind of die and grow moss and blend into the woods after a short period of time. All right, so yesterday Joe and Carol helped me fall that tree, and then I helped them fall another one on their property. I didn't film that process, but we fell it, cut it up, and they gave me all of the firewood that came from it, so they didn't have any more room in their woodshed. So I am going to split up all that stuff and stack it over here on my porch. Hey everyone, back to the present day. I just wanted to add some context to this firewood footage that you just saw. Again, this footage was taken in the fall, and so since that footage was recorded, I burned about half of what was on the porch right there, and then after I did that, I went out and recorded that video of 4-day firewood haul, and I gathered a bunch more firewood, added it to the porch, and then also added some outside and covered it with a tarp. So that was that full length, almost an hour long video of me gathering firewood. And so now we're gonna jump to some footage several weeks post my 4-day firewood haul. And actually, come to think of it, that was yesterday. So the footage you're about to see was yesterday. Correction, it was actually 2 days ago, because I just looked at the footage and my beard and stuff was longer. So I was like, that was actually 2 days ago. Anyways, here we go. So pretty much all that firewood that I gathered and stacked on my porch here is all gone. I just have this left, a few smaller pieces in there, and then some bigger pieces out here that I just chopped up. So that porch is completely empty, and what I have left is under this tarp here. But the tarp has worked great, and it's kept everything under here really, really dry. So all that stuff is ready to burn. So for those of you that have been following the channel for a long time, you know that it's been a long time since I've had a free and clear front deck or porch out there, and I was really looking forward to getting rid of all that wood. So I finally burned through all of it, and I got the opportunity to clean it off and put some chairs out there. And I'm just going to use that box between the two chairs, and I'm going to fill that with dry wood. And we still got a few months until summer, but the weather is so much warmer that I don't have to have a fire going in here constantly, and so I don't have to burn nearly as much wood. So I'm just going to take from the wood underneath the tarp, and I'm going to carry it, put it inside that box, and then when I need wood inside for the wood stove, I'll transport it from that box into the wood stove. And I'm really looking forward to just being able to sit out on that front deck and just enjoy that open space in that deck, because when it's full of wood, you can't really enjoy it. It's just a space for you to walk. But now it's much more open, and it's a nice relaxing spot. And I'm sure many of you property owners and homeowners can relate. Once you finish a project and you accomplish something and you see the results, then the ideas start to flow, and it's like, oh man, this is what I think I'm going to do next. So having said that, once I cleared the wood off the porch and I started to assess, okay, what am I going to do now that I have a cleared porch? And as I've said many times before, I have plans to build a woodshed, but after going through a couple months of just having this wood covered with a tarp, it's really, really dry. I actually, the idea of keeping wood outdoors and just under a tarp where it's allowed to breathe really, really well. Before this experience with the tarp, I was very pro woodshed. Like, I want a pretty building that kind of matches the aesthetic of the cabin and the garage. Like, I want to put siding on it and paint it and make it, you know, metal roof that matches. Just be all matchy and nice and pretty. Like, that's what I want. But now I've had this wood underneath this tarp for a while, and it's so dry because it's allowed to breathe. And now I'm looking at the space where I was going to build a woodshed, and maybe I still will, I don't know, but these are just ideas. I'm clearing the ground, and I got those TJIs to lay down so that I don't have to have wood directly on the ground. Anyways, long story short, I may just gather a bunch of firewood and stack it just like I did there and have this like assortment of tarps, or maybe just put some like sheets of metal on top of it and just do something real simple where I have this little, I build something, but it's just this pitched roof and it doesn't even have walls. It's just open. So the wood is protected from the rain, but then it's still allowed to breathe. So lots of ideas going on there. Money, of course, is always a factor, so I want to do something that's relatively cheap, and the woodshed that I would like to build, ideally, is going to be very expensive. So that's the biggest hurdle. If money wasn't a factor, I would just build a woodshed, but yeah. So the ideas are flowing. Stay tuned to see what I actually end up doing there for next year's firewood. So for the next chore, we're going to be jumping back to the same time period back in the fall. This was right after, maybe even the same day that I fell that dead tree with Joe and Carol and chopped the firewood and stuff. It was around that same time, back in the fall. So let's do it. So the next thing on my to-do list is to clean the roofs. These fir needles rain down from all these trees around the cabin and they collect on the roofs. So periodically I gotta get up there on the roof and sweep it off. But for the longest time I've had these pipes, but I've never put them together. So today I'm gonna give it a try and see if I can put all these together into one long pole, and I can hopefully clean the roofs from the ground. All right, I got that end together. 2 screws. I guess it would help to grab the ladder, but I can still do it without having to get on the roof. That's cool. Okay, so that's slick and all, but I honestly think I would rather just get up on the roof. Because once I'm up there, I can actually handle the broom much more accurately and get all the little cracks and crevices up there. And standing on the ladder kind of hurts my feet. All right, well, I changed my mind once I got to that spot. You can see how it's a little shiny over there. That means it's wet and slippery. And I didn't like the footing that I had over there. I was really starting to slip and slide. So I think I will do that part from the ground. Holy cow. That thing is heavy once you get it all the way out there. Cleaning the roof is kind of a pain in the butt. Man, roof cleaned and all the needles picked up. Not my favorite job to do around here, but we got it done. So that was in the fall, right before winter starts, and that's about when it starts to just completely downpour here in the Pacific Northwest. And so this next footage, before I was cleaning the gutters, but I didn't tackle those French drains that I put in the ground. So in this footage, I'm gonna be cleaning out the French drains. And this was right before I went on the trip to help Patrick build the tiki cabin in Hawaii. So this is December. So I cleaned the gutters and cleaned off the roof around September, October, and then a couple months went by, and I'm in December now during the rainy season cleaning out the French drains. The one that goes alongside the garage and then the one in front of the cabin. The fir needles that fall from the trees build up in those, and I'm not going to be here for the next couple of weeks, so I noticed that they're kind of plugged up. I'm going to clean those out so that when I'm gone, I don't have to worry about, you know, thinking in the back of my mind like, oh, is that like flooding right now? There's a lot of sediment built up in there too, see all that? But just getting those ferns out of there really helped. Now it's gonna flow nice. It's nice how it has those screws on there, makes it easy to remove and clean out. This is a 5-gallon bucket, and that's what came out of just one of those. Now I'm gonna check where it drains out ultimately in the splash block. It is flowing. That's good. Water's coming through and draining onto the ground. That's all I care about. That's a success. So that was what it's like in winter when it's downpouring in December, and now we're jumping back to the present day 2 days ago for this footage about the gutters and the drains. Check it out, it's actually not that bad. There's barely anything in here. And I haven't been up here since the last footage that you guys saw. So during all that snow we got the last few months, I guess not many needles accumulate on the roof and are able to slide down and fill the gutters that time of the year. So another good sign is the snow didn't rip off my gutters at all. It didn't damage them. They're still up here, obviously. So they're holding up. I don't think the camera's picking it up very well, but everything on that end of the drain is completely clear. There's nothing in there. It all just goes to that lowest point and kind of piles up right at the end there. But really simple cleaning process. Just take that one guard off with those Phillips screws and couple scoops, and then they're clean. And that's what it takes to maintain the gutters and the drains. So that, all that footage together, fall, winter, and then spring, now you get kind of a full idea of what it takes to maintain the stuff that falls from the trees onto the roof and then slides off the roof into the gutters. That's what it takes to maintain everything. Now, this cabin didn't have gutters before I installed them, but the big reason why I installed them is because when you're walking into the front door, before I put them on, the water would just run off the roof, and when you would walk into the cabin, you would basically be walking through a waterfall. So you would get all wet. So I wanted to block off that. But then also in other areas where I installed the gutters, the water would run off the roof, run down, and then splash off the ground because it falls from a long distance and then splashes off the ground, and it gets the siding of the garage and the cabin and just completely soaks it. So I wanted to install the gutters to prevent that splashing and water soaking from happening. So that's one of the big reasons why I installed the gutters. A lot of people in this area don't have gutters because they fill up with needles and they don't want to have to clean gutters. So it's, you know, you got to do something about the water damage, and you got to do something about the needles that fall. Some people just don't do anything, and then their roof lasts a lot less. Like if you don't do anything and you let those needles just collect on your metal roof, they're going to eat away at the metal. It takes a while, but still, especially like if you have an asphalt shingle roof, the lifespan, you're just like cutting it in half if you don't sweep that stuff off. So I'm sure there's better ways to do it. There's leaf guard gutter systems. There's all of these, hacks. Some people put foam inside the gutters, and then they can't collect it. Kind of piles up and then runs off. So I know there's all kinds of tips and tricks, but this is what I do, and it's effective. Yes, I have to get a ladder and I have to scoop it with my hand and I have to go through this whole process, but if it works, it works. So this is working for me right now. So that's what I'm doing for my gutters and drains. So jumping back in the timeline, we're going back to the fall for the next chore, and this is an indoor chore. Let's do it. All right, switching gears now. I am inside the bathroom, and I'm going to be replacing this bathroom faucet. I don't know if you guys remember, but when I redid all the plumbing in the cabin, I was having issues with this. The water wasn't coming through properly. It's a lot better now, but it's still an annoying trickle. And I went to Home Depot and I bought a special tool and I tried to remove that thing and it just won't come out. The thing's very temperamental. Like sometimes I come up here and the water barely trickles out, and then other times I come up and it's working better like it is now. But I'm done with it. I'm ready to just install this new one. So let's do that. This looks like it's going to be pretty easy to take the old one off. That's it. Come on in, Joe. You can come in. Just push it. No, he's not gonna push it. Yeah.
Would you like chicken salad?
Yeah, sure. Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Wow. Neighbor Joe just stopped by and he made me egg salad sandwich. Awesome. I let him borrow my vacuum, so this is a reward for the vacuum. Oh, yeah. What a treat. Okay, in with the new. This is going to be interesting. Okay. Alright, here's what the underworld looks like. This thing right here threads on thread, and it tightens this down and holds the whole faucet there. So I just gotta continue tighten this. I think it's tight now. Now we just hook up the supply lines. Now let's turn it on. Boom. Boom. Let's see what happens. Oh, nice. It's cold. That's so much better flow. Oh, that's amazing. Okay, now I'm gonna put this drain thing in there. That was really fun getting my wrench in here. Didn't think that was ever coming off. There it goes. Whew. Clear. That's gross. Okay, per the instructions, this goes first, then this, then this. But that's on there. Now we've put the drain on. That looks about right. All right, all the new connections have been made there. Got the drain put together and the supplies. And now we just take this, stick that in there. That's it. And then now I'll just do some testing and test for leaks. And I did it. I got the new faucet installed in the bathroom. New drain, works great. And it was actually a big deal just getting this P-trap cleaned out, because who knows how many years of nastiness was clogged in there. It actually sounds like it drains better too, so nice. Next on the list, I have another indoor chore, and it looks like I did a pretty decent job of explaining what's going on here, so I don't really need to add much more context to this one. Let's just jump right into it. And now for the next chore, you often see me doing my projects around here, making a mess as I go, leaving tools, leaving sawdust, leaving scrap wood everywhere. But what you don't see is me cleaning up everything. So the garage is a mess. I just finished building the handrail on the new deck the other day, so I need to go in the garage and clean up after myself. Now I am going to add some context here towards the end of this chore. Those of you that watched an old video that I made 7 months ago about doing chores at the cabin, I explained the whole situation of why I have all this furniture inside the garage. And to make a very long story short, I don't want to bore you guys, I basically got rid of all that furniture. I didn't record much of it. There's some footage of me moving that furniture into a trailer and getting rid of it. But that really freed up some space inside the garage, which then allowed me to work out with my stepbrother. It's much better, much nicer to work out in there, and there's room for ping pong in there now that I got rid of all that furniture. So it's kind of a long story. I guess I could let you know real quick, that big box old school TV, I was gonna keep that. That used to be upstairs in the cabin when I first bought it, and I was like, oh, that's the perfect TV for a retro gaming station. So I was gonna set up my PlayStation inside the garage, and that's where I was gonna do retro gaming. But as soon as I plug that TV into the generator, it draws so much power, and it's just so dumb. And the TV that I have upstairs works just fine. And for those of you that saw the video of Julia and I spending the rainy day at the cabin, we played PlayStation on that TV, and it's just more comfortable being upstairs, cozy. So the whole retro gaming, furniture inside the garage idea was just kind of silly. So I'm not doing that. Next is another indoor chore. Let's watch that one. So when I get back from a town trip, like I just did, that means the fire has been out all day. So when I get back here, the coals are completely out, and it's nice and cold in there, so I can scoop out everything from the inside. But I still like to keep a little bit of ash on the bottom so that when I start a new fire, it's got something to heat up. If I completely clean that out all the way and there's nothing in there, then the wood that I'm burning has to burn first, and then it just falls into nothing. Those coals have to be created in order to get hot, to stay hot, to keep the fire going. But if you have some ash down first, then it just helps keep the fire going because it heats the ash up, and you just have like a layer of something down there, like a soft layer. I guess it's hard to explain, but it's just better to have that ash there. In my experience anyways, that's the case. Another very helpful tip I learned from my stepdad, Tim. That looks pretty good. Yeah, that's a lot that came out of there. Nice. All right, so that was the wood stove chore, and the next one I get a lot of questions about. So hopefully in sharing this footage, this will clear up a lot of questions. Let's jump right into it. All right, here I am on a different day. Something else I'm going to accomplish on my to-do list is sealing all of these threads on the gas can lids here. So I want to do these two, and then I also bought these two new gas cans, and these hoses need to go on them. So I'm gonna apply some plumber's tape on all the threads and install these new ones and then redo the old ones, because on the old ones, whenever I fill with gas, there's a little bit of a leak on there in the process of pouring and filling the generator with gas. So I wanna fix that leak. When I install these new ones on the new gas cans, I wanna make sure that I don't have to fix leaks in the future. So I'll just do it up right with those new ones as well. So I get the question a lot, what do I do for gasoline? How much gasoline do I have on hand when I'm up here? Where did I get those gas cans? There's different types of gas cans that I've been using in my videos, and people are like, hey, where'd you get that? So as you can see from this footage, I have 6 gas cans. I have three that are 2.5 gallon capacity. I have one that's 3 gallon capacity, and I have 2 5-gallon gas cans. And I try to have them all full at all times. All right, gas caps, check. So I use gas throughout the week to run the generator, and I try to cycle through it. So I'll use one gas can, and then obviously the amount of gas in it will decrease, and then I'll move on to the next gas can in the line, and that will decrease until it's empty, and then I'll move on to the next one. And when I do my once weekly town trips, I always take the empty gas can with me and fill it up, but I cycle through it. So how do I explain it? I'm not just constantly using the same gas can, emptying it, and then taking it to town and filling it up. I go through each one so that I'm not storing gas for a long time, so that I just have this one gas can that never gets touched, that has you know, 6 months in the future, it has 6-month-old gas. I don't do that. I cycle through it. So that's why in these clips right here, I'm finally going through, this was 2 days ago, or maybe it was yesterday, I don't know. I added these stickers so I could number the cans. I think this, you know, I've got my system down, but I think in the future when Julia's up here or other family members and they need to, you know, if I have someone that needs to be privy to all these things in my systems, they'll know like, all right, we're on gas can 1 this week, or, you know, this is the cycle, so people will know. And I labeled them accordingly, so it's like the 2, you know, 1 and 2 are the 2.5 gallon, and then 1, 2, and 3 are the 2.5 gallon, and on. So if hopefully that makes any sense at all. It makes sense to me. So, and for those of you who are curious, those 2.5 gallon cast cans are great. I really love them. That hose makes it so easy to fill stuff, and they're light. Like 2.5 gallons is not that heavy, so you can hold the hose and hold that handle. It's like really comfortable, and it's got the little breathing tube. It works fantastic. So you can get those at motorcycle shops, those, or like snow machine shops, whatever. I got them at a motorcycle dealership, so that's where you can find those. Now those red 5 gallon cans, those are classic. Everybody has those. It seems like everybody that I know has one of those, and they suck. I cannot stand them because they are so heavy, and those used to have the rigid spout on it, so I would have to like muscle that thing to fill the generator, and it was the biggest pain, and I could not stand that. But I finally found some hoses that were like flexible, so that made it easier. And then I also got a funnel for filling the generator, and that was a game changer for sure. So no matter what can I use, I don't have to be exactly perfect. Like, you know, if there's a little bit of spillage, I got that funnel, so it'll funnel it into the generator. But even with those new hoses on the 5 gallon can, it's still a pain in the butt to use. So what I do is stack some 5 gallon buckets on the ground and prop the red gas can on the 5 gallon bucket with the funnel. I tip the spout into the funnel, and then I'm not even holding that 5 gallon. Like, it's not heavy at all. It's resting on the 5 gallon bucket, and I'm just pivoting. So that makes it so much easier. So those are some tips and tricks when it comes to gasoline for off-grid living. And that's about it for the chores that I'm going to share in this video. Now, there are a lot of other chores that I didn't record that just have to happen to live comfortably up here, including, which I'm not going to include in this video, but vacuuming. I need to vacuum this whole cabin. It's really, really bad, dusty, and yeah, it just needs to be vacuumed and cleaned. But I appreciate you guys checking out this video, and if you're still watching at this point, we're over like half an hour in, and you've just been watching me do like daily chores. So you guys are hardcore for watching to the end of this video, so you're probably the ones that have been following my channel for a while, so you know about my older videos. But if you don't, I have a lot of videos on my channel related to living up here at my cabin, so check those out. And I do all kinds of other stuff. If I kept your attention for this long and you're still interested in watching me do other things, I have a lot of videos on my channel, so I hope you check those out and enjoy. And I will see you guys on the next one. Thanks.